of dark elves and dwargers or whatever. I can't pronounce the name. Durgar, that's what they are. You can also see that the bartender is a drow, which is a dark elf. And yeah, that's pretty much the two races that you currently see hanging out here.
Goldhand goes to sit down at the bar and just casually orders a rum while glancing around, keeping an eye out for any guarded doors or something that would look like it would be called the back room.
All right. As you look around, as the only human, you get a few eyes here and there, but no one speaks up so far. You can see that there is a back room, or at least you can see that there is a door leading somewhere that isn't just behind the bar. But there's someone standing in front of it. It's a dwarf, and he holds a big axe to his side.
All right. Goldhand sits and drinks his rum, keeping an eye on that door, watching to see if anybody comes in or leaves. Though he's trying to be discreet about watching, so they don't realize that he's just sitting there staring at the door. But he is keeping an eye out in case anybody comes in or leaves. And if nobody enters or exits the room after a few minutes, he gets up and walks over, carrying his drink with him.
All right. Does Kane do anything in the meantime?
Well, Kane at this point is kind of watching Goldhand, wondering, okay, what's he up to? But he isn't really socializing yet, because if Goldhand does, and if he's thinking Goldhand is probably going somewhere with this, so he doesn't want to be in the middle of conversation whenever whatever happens.
All right. After a few minutes before you get up, you can see the door where you came from opening, and a very ugly-looking, big humanoid creature comes walking in. He has a huge hump on his back, and his face is just covered in warts. As he walks towards the dwarf, who opens the door for him and lets him go inside. As he opens the door, you can kind of look inside, and you can see a scarcely dressed dark elf.
All right. Goldhand waits around another moment or two before he gets up and he puts some gold down or whatever to pay for his drink. How much is the drink? So I can keep track of
that. Well, you can ask, but do you just put a gold down?
No. Goldhand turns to the bartender and says, "How much for the rum?"
He gives you a look and says, 5 silver.
Goldhand, in that case, puts 5 silver down, which is how much out of a gold?
It's half a gold.
Okay.
The barkeep happily takes the money and lets you do as you please.
All right. Then he gets up and heads over towards the door and looks down at the dwarf from under his hood.
What can I do you for?
I'd like to see the man in charge, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and who are you?
Goldhand speaks in, like, he's been down here before. He knows, like, they speak deep speech down here, right? Wasn't that what you said?
Undercommon, I think it's called.
Well, before you told me deep speech, because that was what I took as one of my languages.
Then it's deep speech.
Okay. Then he says in deep speech, I'm just somebody passing through, but I'd like to speak to whoever's in charge, if you don't mind.
The dwarf gives you a curious look, as deep speech not only is more common in the Underdark, but specifically common under the Drogar. Where'd you learn to talk like that? He replies in deep speech.
I've picked up a thing or two in my travels.
Alright. If you, why don't you tell me what you want to say to the boss, and I'll ask if he wants to see you.
Tell your boss that I want answers, and if I could get answers to my questions from the man at the door, then I wouldn't need to speak to him in the first place.
That's quite fake. I don't know if you can get you in with that, but I'll give it a shot.
Why don't you just step aside and I'll get myself in? If not, I'll be thrown out pretty quickly, don't you think?
Well, why don't you give me your weapons first?
Of course. He props up his trident against the
Against the wall?
Yeah, he props up his trident and his warhammer against the wall, those being the two things on his back, though he still has a few things hidden underneath his coat.
Yeah, the Durgar goes over to you and says, "Spread your arms and legs."
Goldhand chuckles and spreads his arms and legs, though he casually remarks, "You know, I'd hope that you'd at least buy me a drink first."
Don't get your hopes up, he says as he starts patting you down, trying to see if you have any hidden weapons.
Is there anything I can do for that?
Out of character, how many? What do you still have left on you?
2 hand axes and a club.
All right. How are you hiding all these things?
Lots of pockets and a very thick coat. So if he's just patting me down, he's probably not going to feel them, like stuffed in the inside of my jacket.
All right. Roll a sleight of hand.
All right. 14.
How much?
14.
14. As he pets you down, you kind of manage to move your hand axes slightly under your coat by just kind of squirming a little bit. But at some point, he grabs hold of something round. It's like, what is this?
I'm definitely going to need you to buy me a drink before you start grabbing at that, friend.
Roll a bluff check, I guess.
What is bluff?
Yeah, just do a charisma that you're proficient in.
I'm not proficient in any charisma things. But I rolled a 14 again.
A 14. The dwarf looks a bit confused, but then just immediately lets go and like, alright, you're clear. Does your friend come along with you?
Nah. Goldhand gives Pepper 5 silver and says, "Why don't you go order yourself a drink?"
Right, time for drinks! And he flies off towards the bar.
Norbert, jeez.
She. I'm sorry. She flies off towards the bar. Um, the dwarf then looks at Kane, or is Kane still holding back?
Kane is not approaching. He was watching, but once Goldhand enters, he's
Okay.
looking elsewhere. And he, at this point, if nothing else notable happens regarding, say, Pepper, he goes ahead and heads to the counter and says, "Have there been any unusual things of note around here?"
The barman, who is a tall dark elf, kind of looks at you, and is just kind of confused and like, "Do you want to lose your hand?"
And Kane says, "While I don't exactly know what you mean by that specifically, I get the general idea."
Good. Now, do you want something to drink?
Kane says, "I think I'll pass for now."
He then looks like he just kind of glares at you and says, "Do you want something to drink?"
And Corey says, "Ooh, I don't think he's going to take no for an answer. You know what? I'll have it." And Kane says, "No, you won't. You cannot hold your alcohol to save your life." "Fine, I'll get something. Ale."
He pours you an ale and puts it on the counter.
"How much?"
3 gold.
And Kane gets out 3 gold and sets it on the counter.
The man takes it and puts it away. And he seems to be leaving you alone for now.
And Corey whispers to Kane, "You know, if you're gonna try to," and Kane whispers me telepathy. And Corey says telepathically, "You know, you really should try and be more subtle." And Kane says telepathically in response, "More subtle how? I was asking essentially for rumors." And Corey says, "Rumors? No, you were asking for, oh, for crying out loud. Kane, I know you don't get out of the house much, but that's not how one asks for rumors."
Alright. In the meantime, back to Golden. The dwarf walks inside and has a little word with the boss before going back and says like, "Yeah, he'll see ya." And he opens the door. As you walk inside, move on.
Wait, can I ask something?
Sure.
You know, I just remembered. I mean, I guess it's nothing. Like it's useless now, but Goldhand does have the observant feat, so he would have been able to like read their lips. Like, did they say anything of note while he was watching? Whenever the big guy came in.
All you could see was a scarcely dressed, like dark elf.
No, I mean
But,
like the dwarf and the big guy.
Oh, no, he walked inside and closed the door behind him, then came
So
walking
like, he
back
didn't have
out.
to say anything or anything.
No, you can see.
All right.
But as you're led inside, oop, this is what you see.
Is that Cthulhu?
You chose that image specifically for Rhett, didn't you?
No, that is just what you see.
Is that Cthulhu?
Yeah, that's Cthulhu. Have fun
I'm
with that.
surprised
You are
that's
now
what.
insane and dead. No.
I'm surprised that's what you're fixating on, Rad. Wow, that was a strange noise I